I'm honored.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm honored to talk to you all. My name is Catherine Ashton, and I thought maybe I'd go through the who, what, where, and how this all started. I've been doing automatic handwriting for a total of 48 years.
Oh,
I started originally, the first spirit guide I had was named Andrew, and then it switched over to Michael, and I've had Michael for 45 years. And over the last 7 years, I've now connected with my mother and my brother. So that's kind of my 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 family of people that I speak with, and also whoever does come through, I welcome it. How it all started is a couple of 16-year-old girls who were very, very in tuned into back then, like ESP and all that kind of stuff. Well, actually, let me pack it up. I was in like a little camp when I was 12. And my camp counselor was your typical, she came in with a group of hippies and was so spiritual. She was amazing with this wild hair. I'll never forget her. And it was like a little day camp that you could go home for lunch and come back. It was in the neighborhood. And one of my best friends was gone away to England, and I was 12. So my mother kind of pushed me out there. And I went, and I was kind of by myself. And I met Barb, who I just idolized because you could just, there was so much energy with this incredible young woman. And then one day she said to me, do you want to have lunch with us? And I said, oh, yes. I went home. My mother made me my jam sandwich, and I came for lunch, and we sat in this staff room, and all of her friends, there was like, we're talking the 60s. So it's a bunch of hippies. Let's just put it out that way, right? And after we ate, the hour that they were off, they brought out the Ouija board. And I was just mesmerized by it. And that thing flew. It just flew across. It was unbelievable. And I didn't say a word. I didn't react because I wanted to come back. I thought if I got scared, they wouldn't let me come again. So it ended up that I could bring for this 4 or 5 week duration, bring my lunch and sit with them. And they did a pendulum thing. They did everything. They were so cool. It was the coolest experience. There, my mom thought it was going to play duck, duck, goose there, when in fact I was sitting almost in circle at lunch, with these incredible people. So the final day, she gave me a gift, and the gift was a Ouija board. And she wrote this beautiful card. I still have it with this dove and the pentacle on it. It was just beautiful for me. And I put it away years, years. But all this time, I loved everything to do with ESP, anything to do with, we called ESP. We watched all those movies, we did everything, my two other friends and I. So, and I told my friends about this experience. So when we were around 16, now that's a couple years later, we were just getting bored. It's Friday night. What are we going to do? I said, well, let's pull out the Ouija board. Let's just take it out there. Let's see what happens. And of course, my two friends and I, we sat there, we figured out how to do it. And of course, it went, that typical, if you ever did it, that, like, I mean, and we weren't sure whether or not we're manipulating it or not. And then a few things started to happen. It started to move quite quickly. And it was better through my one friend, Judy, to actually be in control. So what we were doing was writing down the letters and slashing the words. So if we had like CAT, we knew that would be cat. We'd slash until sentences, and then we'd stop and read it. So this became a bit of an obsession with us, that every Friday night we did it in my basement. And we were talking about all kinds of things, about afterlife and about this and that. And I'd asked about my friend Barb, who gave me the board. And they had told me that she had died in Vancouver in a car crash. So I was just devastated. And there was a phone number on that card. I still had the card. It's actually to this day, if you open up my Ouija board, you will find her card is there. And I got enough guts to call that number and ask for her. And her mother had said she had passed and that she had died in a car crash. So let me tell you, that freaked us out. We were like, okay, now we're getting information. We're not too sure this is what we want. We didn't know where we were going. And then we started to get information about a friend of my mother, who a friend of our, a good friend of ours' mother had cancer. Like it was just too heavy for us. But we were trusting it. And we started to think, okay, now we have to pray before we do this thing because this is becoming too weird. And it was going along just fine. And we literally, I'm going to say, sat in circle. We didn't even know what that was, but we kept doing it. And then what happened was something very evil came through. It was quite abusive. It swore at us. It was not whoever we had been in contact with. And it scared the shit out of us, like to the point we were like, my girlfriend's going, possession, this is possession, this is all these things. We saw too many movies. So we sort of put the board down and we ran up the stairs and we couldn't get out. The door was locked. Now, the door had no lock. It was as if something was on the other side. No one was home, pushing us, keeping us down there, which totally flipped us out more until we were able to push our way through. And it was like, okay, that's it. We're never doing this again. It's over. It goes back in a box. It's scared the shit out of us. So now it's about June and we're in high school. We're still in high school and I'm in class and I remember it. It's like my history or English class and I'm trying to write notes from the board and my pen kept rolling out of my hand to the floor. And I thought I was like having a stroke or something. I didn't know what's going on. Every time I went to form it, it would literally move and roll down. And it was embarrassing. I kept picking it up. So then I grabbed hold, I put it down, and this very loopy lettering started to happen. And because we had read so much about everything at this point, we became very aware. I was like, oh my God, this is automatic handwriting. So the first thing I did was ask, who are you? In my head, and introduce himself as Andrew. So class finished. I had to go find my two other girlfriends. I have to find them. I'm running through the school to find them, and lo and behold, the same thing happened to them. They were all freaked. So now we all can write. We all are doing automatic handwriting, all three of us. So we went back down to after that day, we went into the local restaurant, like everybody does after school, to have something. And I was like, my girlfriend Judy was more like, here, you write. And we had like napkins and she was writing and we were asking this person and the automatic handwriting. And she was a lot stronger than everybody, it seemed. Her writing was far more legible. So then we decided we must do this Friday nights. Let's sit and only write. So Judy was given the task. Like I said, hers was far legible. It was quicker. She had more control. Then mine was extremely loopy. Anna's was the same. So Judy was our master writer. And we would, again, stop at process to be able to make sure we're getting full paragraph, like full sentences. And we would sit for maybe 2 hours with this. And we asked where he was from. We got all kinds of confirmation. We went back to one of our history teacher to talk about certain things, to check up on some of the things he was telling us. And the cool thing about it was none of us would have known any of this. It was so foreign what was coming to us. Like, where was this information coming? And I love that. I love the random information. So it went on. It was our Friday night ritual when we should have been going out, maybe hanging out with our friends. We were sitting in circle and developing and understanding and always reading. But we only swore that we would only do this on Friday nights together. So none of us did it again. The pact was Leave us alone at school. Leave us alone at home. We will only do this on a Friday night. So what eventually happened was it started to creep in into just through the summer, regular things. I was working as a camp counselor. I went to write something, it was creeping in that regard. So I was trying to block it, saying, okay, we'll do this Friday. Leave me alone. You want to talk to me. And to this day, if I don't talk much, it will literally, the pen will move through will be thrown out. So I got a little worried, and we went to a priest and we asked the priest about it. All three of us went. And he said, write for me. So out came the paper, and he asked it questions, asked Andrew at the time questions. And Andrew, there are things that were being said that were so religious. None of us, my girlfriend was Jewish. I'm Catholic, but never went to church in my life. And my other girlfriend is the same. So it was just talking about the right side of the father and everything. So the priest felt safe. His idea was, if you could control it, if you can stop it, if it will listen to you, I'm not worried about it. That was his main thing. So life goes on. We go off to universities and things, and we have this ability to write whenever we wanted. And my father passed away when I was 21, quite suddenly, and he was hospitalized. Well, he was supposed to come home. He wasn't supposed to die, so he died out of complications. And I was writing with Andrew, and then suddenly one night, Michael came through, and I believe Michael was there to help me through the death of my father, which had a tremendous impact on my life and on my family's. So I'm sure that because I couldn't get Andrew back, I could never. Michael is forever. He's still my pal. He's my right hand is him, right? That's exactly it. So he, explained to me. He knew. He sort of told me my father would not survive. Yet my hope was that was not the truth. And my father died at 3 a.m. And my brothers and my mother came home. We lived closely, and I wrote for my family that night. And my father was able to speak to my mother. I asked for my dad to come through, and he had something to say to all of my brothers and I. So that is my beginning. That is my story. My girlfriend Judy continues with Andrew. We don't see each other often. She, she will call me because she's told by Andrew to call me sometimes. He tells her, you got to call her or something's going on, and we're connected. I have further developed my abilities to the point that I sit in circle every week at a spiritual church here in Toronto. And I've, taken courses with Julie Ryan and Carrie and Phil. I've done lots of work there. So I've been developing a lot more in my ability with my writing. It's so matter of fact for me right now that it's just, I do it every morning, cup of coffee in my hand. I say the Lord's Prayer, white light myself, and go, hi, are you there? That's basically it. And he'll start. And
Yeah,
now I have
I
my
said it
mother, I
the
have my
same
brother who
again.
died quite suddenly, so things have coming. But the information that comes through me is, and I call it the random stuff. Like I could be talking about, we could be just chatting, nothing. But then all of a sudden, it's like a tick tape comes across. You need to, something is about to happen, something is this and that. And I call it like a ticket tape because it will repeat it. It doesn't stop until I've looked at it. And a perfect example, and I'll put it that I have an older brother with autism who I'm the guardian of. In the middle of a conversation, my mother came through. My brother needed complete blood work. He needed to be seen. And I was like, okay, should I stop now? Just take him to the hospital? And she goes, no, but this is going to happen. You need to be ready. It's not so serious, but he needs to be taken care of. And he's 70, my brother. So my son took him out to see one night, and my brother fainted. So I knew in my head, this is happening. She's this within days of what she said. Okay, don't panic. He's going to be all right, but this is going to happen. So took him in. He was in the hospital. His blood pressure was way too high. He's on pills now. Everything's great. But the cool thing is random things. It's just it's those things that I'm told because I'm a freelancer in the film industry. So I'm told you're going to get a job. They're going to call you on Monday. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. The phone rings. So it's not always just about me. It's about everything else. We'll talk about a million other things, afterlife, da da da. It's just a ongoing conversation with a really good friend. And that's where I'm at. And that's if you have any questions, but that's my thing.
Catherine, I have a question.
Mhm.
You said your friend also communicates with Andrew. So
Mhm.
I'm confused because usually people have different spirit guides that do things, and I've
Okay.
never known anybody to share a spirit guide.
Okay, so what happened was we all shared in the beginning because
Okay.
that's who it was our first thing. But I got Michael, so I only talk to Michael. I have no communication with Andrew. She has got Andrew. My other
Oh,
girlfriend, who is able to write, has refused to. She will not be involved in it. And I
oh,
really kind of hope she would because her husband just died um,
hmm.
quite suddenly. And my thing to her is, write, ask, you know, get some healing, but she's not ready to.
Hmm.
So I have the one person in, but we started with just all three and then it broke off.
I see. Okay.
What did you find out about who Andrew is?
What I know about Andrew, Andrew was from Gettysburg. That's what I do know.
Hmm.
Now this is long. This is stuff in books from a long because we have books of our writing. They're just books and books of it. And he described how he was killed, and it was during the war of that. Michael is more just of a spirit guide, so it's very far back. He says he's known me from other lives, so I can't. I have had dates of his death, and I was able to track it in the States. But it's just, I think with me, it's become a part of me now that I've got other um, things that were true that I believe in it. You know what I mean? I don't need any more proof anymore. This is you tell me things that I could never even know, not even in my wildest dreams. So that's my proof, my evidence, you know. And then when I've been working just sort of in circle, I'm not writing anymore because that's been a new thing for me to have Michael talk to me this way and not write. So when I sit in circle, I'm learning to let him talk that way if he has messages for people. So that's been a switch over for me.
Yeah, seems like I hear a lot of people who have experiences for many years and then something they change it up. But what I found as a handwriting analyst, and there are a couple of other handwriting analysts in this group, what I found interesting, having looked at some automatic writings, is that you said that you were writing big and loopy and that the other person was more controlled, which is an interesting insight because writing that is big and loopy, it is a more emotional, in general, a more emotional person.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's more compacted, there is more control there.
Mm-hmm. And Judy was the one that had in the very beginning more power. Like it, I'm gonna say power, but more it just was controlled writing. It was better. It was just concise. Mine was whoa up the thing and down the thing. Let's do it. Like, can we get in? Can we like I was just wasting way too much paper. We had to condense this a little bit. I used to say to him, you need to start letting it flow better. But the writing is completely different from my own writing. And when my mother or brother come in, the writing will change. it dramatically. It'll switch over. It'll go more this way or more that way. My hands sometimes hurt so much from, see, let me just hold my hand. It's like it's gripped. And you'll just see, even my friend, she's like, okay, stop holding my hand so hard. Like it's just, it's actually to me, it's more physical.
like writer's cramp.
It's really, it hurts sometimes.
That's
Yeah.
a when a human does that, we call that there's a special name for it, is guided hand writing. But what comes to mind is, and that happens like if somebody's infirm and needs to sign a will or something in bed,
Mm.
the person whose hand is guiding them influences the signature because they have
Yes, yes,
their
yes.
own master patterns that are being imposed on that. So that's that's very good and interesting that you see the changes.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's, it's like to me, again, I'll have my coffee in the morning and it doesn't go long. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 7 minutes, it could be 2 minutes. And if I start in the morning, I will say a prayer, quick prayer, white light, and then hold the pen and let's go. And it'll be, that I love it when they go, I gotta go. It's like, oh, you got a job? Like, you know, you gotta go in the middle of it. I gotta go. Bye. Like it's like, what are you doing? Those are the things that I know that has nothing to do with me because I'm in the middle of something and you're saying I gotta go? Like you're just leaving me here? Like to be continued. It's like when? Like, you're doing nothing. I'm the busy one, like that's always my thing.
What makes you think they're doing nothing? They do
Well,
their
I just say
jobs.
that. That's my conversation with them. You're just
Okay.
hanging around on some cloud. That's what
Yeah, right. Mhm.
I eat. And, Michael's got a really good sense of humor. So things that I say is just, it's kind of very flippant with me. I'm the busy one here. And, yeah. And then during the day, I don't prayer, or if I decide to start again, like so I just hear that I don't have to pray again. Like I sort of do a pray for the day. So if I want to get back in later, I'm done. That's kind of how I do it.
Well,
So
did you ever figure out who the bad spirit was that it,
no, no, that was just, and I've warned people never to touch a Ouija board because of that, and I have never touched one again.
oh,
I did not ask. I didn't want to know. I don't know where it came from. When growing up in my home, we had some incidents that my mother had to call a priest in. So there was something around, but I didn't want to know. I figured if I knew too much, it might be inviting something in.
mm.
So best to let it go. And I never touched the board, and it's never come through the writing. So never, ever come through the writing.
I think
Peg?
Ouija boards get a bad rap.
Uh-huh.
And I think if you don't know how to open one or close one,
That's right.
then it opens you up to all kinds of stuff. And at 16, you didn't know really what you were doing. You were playing a game.
That's exactly. We didn't even think it would work.
Right,
Hello,
right. So now, if you did that, you don't need a Ouija board because you've got direct communication. But
Correct.
I know people that have 10 Ouija boards. They like collect
I
them,
know somebody too,
but they do know how to open it
and
properly
they
and
know
how
how
to
to.
close it. And so it's not an issue.
No,
But yes, I can see why that would have scared you.
and
It's all
Yeah.
about
and
intention, right?
Yes.
exactly, exactly.
I think Peg, were you going to say something?
I just was curious about any sort of sensation that you might feel before you write or hear.
Yeah. What I get is basically I have to write. Like it's you need to write. It just comes in. And when those times happen, it's something very important. It's something serious that will stop me in my day to say, I've been on a bus because it's right. Or again, like I said, I'll be middle of something and it will go, the pin will fly. And I'm like, okay, what do you want? Like it's something that I need to know. It's you need to hear this. And I hate when I get make sure. I know when I get the word make sure, it means okay. It's going to be some sort of lecture about something. I need to be ready for something.
Mhm.
So it's kind of and then we switch if I want to talk about world events, but I don't like to get too involved in that because then that freaks me out. I don't want to know too much about that because but I do like to know what happens when you've passed on. It's interesting for me to know that now that my brother is coming forward and my mother, but my father can't. And when I do ask for my father, it's always a distance. It's like a message just said to Michael and then conveyed to me. And I had to ask, what does that mean? Like, why? And my dad died, 45 years ago. So when I think about that, that has to do with what I was told was, and this is something that bothers me when I'm going to say this, because he's already back here. He's back. He's come back. And he's not far from me, is what I was told. So I just got goosebumps by saying that. But he's also, but his soul is still with me, which is an interesting thing because he's kind of split.
Mm-hmm.
He started his new life and he is split. So I get his soul, but that's why it's coming through another way. Where my mother and my brother, my mother died in 2009, my brother 2017, it's still quite close. My grandparents are far. Again, is a very far away. When I ask about any communications, it's like long distance. So that must be the same thing.
Do your fingers tingle?
Yeah, what happens is not that it's something it's telling you have to do, but again, it's afterwards. Like it's like, God, you held so hard. Do you have to hold my hand that hard? Like it hurts. If it's intense, it hurts.
I notice, I sit in on a lot of podcasts and, circles and I take notes and my handwriting changes. It's not always consistent. And I'm thinking, I wonder what's going on
I
here.
wonder what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
But is that your process to say the Lord's Prayer and think of a white light and do you bring in anything else?
No, I just
intention?
sit down. Because that's been happening since the day one. Well, when we found out with the Ouija board. So this is kind of my same thing I've done since the Ouija board. And my girlfriend does the exact same thing. So it works. So I say the Lord's Prayer is very simple and ask for white light of protection. And I also ask, depending, if you higher power to make sure to keep us safe or could keep me safe. And the first thing I'll say is there anything you need to tell me that I need to know? That I absolutely need to know before we chat. And then it will be something like that. But
I think if Michael's your gatekeeper, which
mhm.
is what it sounds like he is, then you are protected.
Oh yeah.
He's making sure that you only have the highest good coming through. So that helps too if you ever forget that prayer.
Now it's true. I feel the same. And I was in my mid-20s and you can't really tell people about this. It's as you guys all know, people don't take it serious. But my mother was very interested. And there was a well-known medium at the time, and I can't remember his name because it was so long ago. He came through Toronto. He was all over the radio stations. And my mother said, you need to make an appointment. Go see that medium. So I did. So I went into the hotel. They sometimes are at a hotel and booked in the room. And I had my reading with them. And at the end, he said, why are you here? And I said, well, I just paid you money for a reading, of course, if we just had a reading. He says, because you don't need me. You can do this yourself. And I said, I didn't know what to say. Like I said, okay, I do automatic handwriting. I was just kind of shy to say it, right? And then he said, here's a piece of paper and I'd like you to do it. And I was like, what? Like, no. Okay. And I started, and the weirdest thing that happened was his mother came through. I had no idea about this man, and she had passed, and she had a lot to say to him. And when at the end, I said, well, I don't know what any of this means. Here it is, what he's saying. He said, never doubt what's that information that's coming. Never doubt that. And that's my worst thing sometimes because I get, I'm afraid to give readings because I'm afraid of something that might come through. Like and I've done it to, people, my friends, I don't want to do it in front of them. I'll do it on the side and they don't know it. And like, okay, right now my girlfriend is in negotiation. She's been trying to sell her house. So I asked Michael, is she going to sell her house? What's the best way to do this? I gave her some information and I checked in today, but I didn't tell her I did this. I checked in today and she said, well, it's going the way you sort of said it was. And I was like, okay. Okay, that's it. I just do it that way. That's kind of what I do. And but learning how to do it without the pen and paper has been a bit of a journey, but it's working.
Cool.
Any
Other
questions?
questions, comments? Y'all gonna start? Yes, Marie.
How, what did you do when you started? Did you just say somebody talk to me, or you just start writing, or how did you
Well,
get into
when when I first started, it came to me. The writing started on its own.
So you just sat down and said, I think I'm going to do some
No, I was in school trying to write notes from the board,
oh, okay.
and
And
it started, this weird writing started.
okay.
But now I just sit down, I have a coffee, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Okay.
That's kind of how I do it. I can't meditate. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
tried, I just cannot meditate. I'm not a meditator. So it's just, I open, and I think over all the years I've been able to open my mind as soon as I do it. I've trained myself. So that's probably the reason.
Open your mind. Yeah.
Mhm. But that's hard too, right? Because if your life is really, really busy and so
Yeah.
much stuff is going on, that's why I love the random ticket coming through because I know that has nothing to do with anything cluttering from my head. It's coming
Mhm.
out of nowhere, you know, or warnings for people. It's coming out of nowhere. And I've
Mm.
had to tell people not to do certain things, you know.
That's
So
yeah. Thanks.
you're welcome.
Do you think the fact that you did this every Friday on a regular basis really helped kind of cement the ability and your own sensitivity toward it?
I believe so. I really believe that that sitting in circle, which we didn't know that we actually did it naturally. So we became these three girls who sat in circle, not really understanding it until much, much later on that we understood what we were doing. And I think it solidified it and helped us. And also we felt safe. And we also had this idea was, well, if it's bullshit coming out, who cares? You know what I mean? We were like, it doesn't matter. It's a Friday night. It doesn't matter. Like we're gonna be okay. But and then later on in life, it became quite more serious. But I had other things going on when I was younger. I sensed I started to smell death, which is something I asked to have stopped. So so I've had some other sense stuff happening. So anything else?
Is there a particular time of day that you find it easier? Like if early in the morning or late at night when your mind might be more relaxed than the middle of the day, or does it matter?
I can tell you, first thing in the morning is always really good. Late at night. Like if I can't sleep, and maybe the reason why I can't sleep is because I need to write. I've done it 2 or 3 in the morning, which is excellent, I will say. Excellent time to write because you're in a far more quieter state, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll do it if I can't sleep, just for a conversation. What's going on? Let's talk. Like,
Is it mostly personal messages, or are you getting like worldwide kind of stuff?
again, I can direct that. It depends on me. If I want to talk about world events, we can talk about world events. If I want to, it's how I've set it up. I really don't want to be frightened by something. I guess that's what it is. Knowing something that's big I really don't want to be frightened. So those are kind of my areas, unless I'm going to be, my loved ones or myself are going to be directly involved. And sometimes I was in a terrible uh not an earthquake, a hurricane in Cuba. It was 5 point, it was horrible. And it was the most horrendous. And I wrote and asked, are we going to make this through? So I had 2 seconds somewhere where we were being held up to write something. My thing is always in my purse, a pad and paper has to be there. And I have to make sure I have my pen in hand ready. Now, if you want, I mean, I could write now.
Yeah, of
Ask
course.
if he has anything to say to anybody here. I don't know how, I've never done it with a group of people. So,
Pamela, I see your hand up.
You do see my hand up. I am kind of in need right now, so I would appreciate anything you want to
okay.
send my way.
And it's Pamela?
It's Pamela.
Okay, we go. Now, I've already prayed before this, so we're
Thank
good.
you.
We're already connected. Okay, I'm just going to tell you this, and I don't know what it is. It's about your nerves are your problem. You're more upset over things that are causing you more difficulty right now. I don't know if
There's a
that.
stressor. There is a stressor.
Okay, don't say anything.
You're on the right track.
Okay, don't, no. Okay. Okay, so what I've done is because it's happening fast and I don't want to miss anything, I'll translate it. Sometimes I translate it. So I'll stop because I want to make sure I get it right.
Okay.
You have to take matters in your own hands and don't listen to what others think. And it has to do with money. Some money issues are a bit of a problem. She also has to watch out for some money issues coming up. Okay, I'm just going to say this. What she's finding is your family might be taking advantage of you. I don't know if that is
No, it's medical.
medical. Okay, okay. But keep this in mind. Keep it in mind. Okay. I don't want to ask too much. So, do you want me to ask medical how you are?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is why I don't want to. It says what you might have is not curable at this time.
Well,
That's not something we like to hear, is it?
No, but I'm going to find out more. Do you want me to?
since I'm starting a cure tomorrow, yes.
And we'll all send you healing.
Thank
Okay,
you.
it's going to put you on a sort of a new plan that'll change everything in your life. It's something that you'll have to live with for a little while. Okay, just I guess her time on Earth is not over. So just so you know that.
Well, I hope not. I'm not planning on
It's
checking
not
out.
over. It's not over. He's just reassured you it's not over.
But I will tell everybody this. Tomorrow I'm starting radiation for a nodule that has not proven to be malignant.
Okay.
Other Pam, Michelle.
This is the other Pam. And could you just make sure that it's that Pamela that all that information goes with and not me? Because I also have a medical issue coming up.
Goodness.
And I don't go by Pam.
Right.
I
But
never go by Pam.
But I do.
You go by Pam. So are you asking a question?
So we have two different Pams here, Pamela and Pam.
Okay.
So
And I will
Pam
be
is thinking maybe the message might be for her instead.
It was for Pam.
Parts of it. So that's the only thing I want to make sure is it's not confusing.
Okay, so my understanding it was Pam.
Okay. So not you, Pamela.
So that was me.
Did that make sense for you, Pam?
It is. I have to think again what all of it was. My time on Earth's not done. It's going to make a change, and I'm going to yes. But sorry, just to add a comment. But so the cure tomorrow may be something wonderful, Pamela. Look at that way.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that.
Good.
that's good. No, you're okay. So I don't really want to talk more about for you, Pamela, what's happening for you because I don't want any bad answers or any. I'd like to just have when it comes to health issues, and I'd like to not that. Yeah.
I will say, however, the financial stuff and the family stuff was not me.
Okay.
Oh.
I offer my family money all the time. They turn me down. Say, nope, you're going to need it to live on.
Okay.
So I don't see that would be an issue.
Well, keep it in mind because it's not
I
always
will.
what happens now. It could be 6 months from now. That's the other thing that I do know when I
Well,
do.
if I get next to a cliff and they kind of push, well, we'll know it was.
You'll know it was when they're trying to eliminate you.
Oh, gosh.
And by the way, I've got MS, which is, a nerve disease. So when you originally said it's nerves that are your problem, I went, oh, I think this is going to be me. So
Yeah. Okay.
Is
All
that
right.
is that something recent that you found out, Pam?
What? Did I have MS?
Yeah.
Oh, 1980.
Oh, we just never knew that.
No.
And why should we? Because you didn't tell us before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Is there anybody here by the name of Jennifer?
Jennifer, yeah.
Oh, I just have tomorrow morning. There's some sort of surprise for you.
Oh, Jennifer, you must let me know.
Okay, that was what I asked if there was anything here.
Interesting. That's good. I know I was gonna just ask if because I was hoping to get some kind of message from my mom because she passed in 2021 and I've had dreams with her, but not recently, and I was concerned that I wasn't gonna, I'm not gonna be able to get a hold of her. And so part of the automatic writing that I started to want to get into is to talk with her. So that's kind of the message that I'm trying to get.
Well, the message was you're going to get a surprise tomorrow morning. It was directly
cool.
for Jennifer.
All right.
A
Thank
nice
you.
surprise, of course.
Of
So that
course,
would
a
be a
good
beautiful
surprise, right?
surprise. And if she came through or got a message, that would be a beautiful surprise. So,
Yeah.
but try to do it in
That
the
would,
morning.
for sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody
Tracy.
else?
Yes, JC. You have something? Or are you asking for a message? You got to unmute.
I can't hear.
Can you unmute, JC? There.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Good. I just want to know if there's anything I should know.
Mm.
And this is not encouraging.
He says you need to take things slow and watch your diet because your diet is going to overthrow some things in your system.
Oh, gee whiz.
That resonate?
It's accurate.
Yeah, it's gonna topple some things. So watch your diet.
Oh,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah. We need you to take good care.
Yeah, it's not it's not
Right.
he's saying you just need more rest.
I said, what?
You need more rest.
Mm.
Okay, that's all the excuse I need.
Yes, take it. Oh, I thought for sure
Oh.
Giles would have something, but he seems to have disappeared.
Okay, so this is where the sense of humor comes
Oh.
in. A foolish mistake for you is to go dancing. He's telling you not to go dancing right now.
Okay,
Oh.
honey has something.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I have a feeling my husband, who passed last year, may have a message for me.
And your name is Honey?
Yes.
Okay. He says that your husband has messages all the time for you and you're not listening.
Okay.
Okay. He tells you to stop worrying.
Okay.
He misses you so much and all your laughter. He says that's what his life with you was, with laughter, is what he holds close to him. Ah. Feels that you want to leave, but your time's not up.
I wouldn't say that. Does he hear me talking to him? Are we just not connecting? I
So what
feel
he's
his
hearing,
presence. Mhm.
he wrote that he hears you in the morning, your morning talks. You
Okay.
talk in the morning?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
He hears that, is what I got.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So this is, I don't know if you could see, but this is kind of what it's looking like. It's all scribbly and circles and.
Can't really see it.
Wow.
Mm. Okay.
But while I'm writing, I'm hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's talking. It's talking.
Taking dictation.
That's basically, yeah.
Shorthand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you check for me from Jake if I'll still be hearing from him or if he's going on to be a guide or some other
Who's speaking? I'm sorry.
Linda.
Oh, Jake. Are you going to still?
We have two Lindas here today.
Linda Ferguson.
Okay. So you're receiving messages from Jake, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. He says what's going to happen to you is you're going to develop more, but Jake will remain with you.
Because I heard a message that Jake will be moving on, like I won't have that same connection with him.
No, he's saying you're developing more, but Jake will be with you. Okay, let me just oh. I mean, it's possible you'll be dealing with more than one person after more than one spirit guide. Okay. Just like I had, like, my mother is now in spirit, and my brother, yeah.
Right. Mine too now, so.
Yeah.
Last one, Linda Roan. You had something.
Which one?
Unmute. There you go.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Catherine. Hi, Catherine, I'm from Oakville, so just up the road from you.
Yeah.
I was told that I would write a book through automatic writing, but that was all I was told. I was wondering if it was supposed to be fiction or a memoir.
He says what you'll write will be fiction.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Do you know where that's going, Linda? You know any ideas?
Well, that changes my plans. but yes, I have got a book half written, but I just dropped the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's just thanking everybody for their time.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah.
That's what his last message was. I'm also in the process of writing a book, but it is more of the story of how it all happened, how we're going, and all the other things that have taken place. And then I'm going to have a section with him, Michael, telling me things, and it will hit world events. We'll do everything. I think that's way down the road. That's where,
well, you just never know. Last year when I started to write my memoir, it usually takes me 9 months to write a book. And it took 27 days to write my memoir because Spirit was working with me. So you never know.
Yeah, it's moving a lot faster than it had. Let's put it that way, because I've asked for more help in that regard. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Catherine.
It's going to make a great movie.
Yeah. These days, people are looking for those paranormal kind of movies.
Well, I hope that it helped anybody that I spoke with and that he wrote. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm turning off.